All right, let's kick it off.
4 hours to drive here.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. We're delighted to have you with us. We introduce Steve, who many of you know from TradeZero, from his live room, and also Dan, who is CEO of TradeZero. Today's webinar is on risk management. We would love if you're happy to keep your videos on. It's a much more personal experience for us. And please keep your mics muted, please. Obviously, you can add questions to the chat, which Steve and Dan will get to towards the end of the webinar.
Awesome.
Thank you, Aisling. Dan, welcome.
Steve, pleasure to be here.
Great seeing you,
Pleasure to be here. Likewise,
great.
likewise.
Yeah. Known Danny a long time, great firm, TradeZero. And I have to say, you know, this is a great opportunity for all of our members and TradeZero customers and people on the TradeEasy site, really to get a full grasp of what we're going to be talking about. And again, we'll be taking questions, and we're here. You know, really the volatility has been tremendous, and you know, I've been day trading my whole life, and so basically when you see moves like this, people have coming to me constantly and saying the volatility is insane, and being in this live channel that we created here at TradeEasy, we're able to, with the work and the 9 years of me building what I build here, we're able to see the moves, the trends, the reversals, all the divergences. But I tell you one thing, that the most important thing that people are recognizing is risk management is stop orders. They have to place their stops, right? Preservation of capital. You need the ability to, when you're entering a trade, you know, I jump up and down like a baboon. When you're placing you're scaling in and you have your orders in, you got to have your stops in place as they're rising. And the S&Ps at the end of the day dropped 24 and ran 20. So, and we caught both the short and the long. But, you know, the thing is to be able to identify these moves, and what we're able to help educate all the traders to be on the right side of the market, to be able to identify these strategies. And I think what my passion with TradeEasy is to be able to help all these traders at the stage of my life to see the technology that we built to help all the traders.
If I could, Steve.
Absolutely.
Because I got to get a word in edgewise.
I won't. I use up all the oxygen.
Yeah. So first off, I just want to say thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
I'm really happy to be here. I could honestly say I've never been surrounded by so many charts in my life. This is a very cool place to work and to be every day. So I want to thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. For those TradeZero customers who have joined us, really thank you. I think we're in for a real treat today. Steve is a seasoned veteran. He's a guy who's been on, who's ranged from the floor to upstairs, to doing his thing from remote locations, but always involved with the markets, always in lockstep with what's happening in the financial world. And so I'm happy to join today, Stephen. You brought up a great point before about the volatility. It's been an interesting 5 months to the year, especially given the fact that we've come off of really 2 full years of, where the rules were all broken. The seasonality that normally hits our business in 20 and 21 really didn't exist due to COVID and people being at home. And the way that this year started was very interesting. January was a month of, the first week of January, I think, started off very typically. But as we moved into the month, there were levels of extreme volatility. And, in talking to, media outlets and the like, people are like, wow, this must be really great for you guys. And I'm like, well, actually, it hasn't been as crazy as you think it would have been due to the, if you look at the extreme volatility that happened in January, I think that the extreme nature and the violent nature of a lot of the moves served to keep a lot of people on the sidelines. And I think that's really due to the fact that, people aren't abreast of how to manage risk and aren't aware of how to really ensure that they don't get caught on the wrong side of some of these things, which is sometimes unfortunate because, traders live for volatility. When you have extreme volatility, obviously that creates extreme opportunity, but also creates extreme risk. So if you could, when you talk about times of real extreme volatility, what are some of the tips and tricks, just from a high level, I think that you would advise on, or some of the things that you employ to both protect capital, but also ensure that you're there to both live to fight another day and hopefully take advantage of some of those extreme moves.
Well, that's a really great point. As a trader who traded nearly 2 billion shares in his life, it was always my idea. My goal was always to come back the next day, right? So I'm not blowing up, and I always believed in going for singles. Even when I, played baseball, I was always a singles doubles hitter. So I always took that mentality into my trading. And so the number one thing for me was really super important is that I want to just be as consistent as possible. I'm not in this to be right 50, 60, 70% or 80%. It has to be 90 or plus, 90 plus or better. Oh yeah, my hit ratio when I was trading was 97.4%. So for me, that meant that I was right 97.4% of the time.
That's superhuman, by the way, just
thank
FYI.
you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And that's documented. So, and I can say that publicly because it was documented. But the point is, I'm expecting anybody who comes into our channel to do the work, because hard work works, right? And I've also educated so many people on the triple reverses, like the SQQQs, the TZAs, the SDS.
So we're talking about a particular
ETFs.
Strategy of how to manage risk.
Right. Well, for example, like if you think like when I tweeted out when the market broke the 45 or 4,600 on the weekly charts, I said, we're going down. You saw the SQQQs go from 28 to 58 or 60, right? So a lot of people, if they're intermediate or long-term investors, could have hedged just on those.
Good point. Okay, so hedging as a risk mitigation strategy, right? I mean, I believe that there are a lot of people out there who may not even know what that is. So let's take baby steps here, because I do believe that, first of all, there are a lot of people who may be, wanting to learn something here. And also, I'm ever mindful of the fact that, when you have people who are just starting off on trading, they are particularly nervous. We're dealing with real money here. So when you make mistakes, it costs us in the pocket. And so I want to, if we could, just, bring things down to a newbie and beginner level so that we can, ensure that people get something out of your experience and your skill in trading.
That's a great point. I mean, look, I've known top hedge fund managers, the top guys in the world, and I talk to the same guys the same way as I would talk to a newbie. And I believe that what I try to do here is I'm not here to waste anybody's time, right? I'm here to teach at a very high level. That's why this live channel was created, right? Because what I teach during this, from 9 to 4, right, at a high level, people are grasping. It's not like sitting in a classroom and learning. We've also developed technology now where people can listen to me or anybody else that we bring on to TradeZero on their cell phones. So people can listen on their cell phones. I have people work with earplugs listening because they want to learn. So basically, it's really about whether you're a Gen Z person, a millennial, you're a beginner, you're an intermediate, or an advanced trader. I have advanced traders that, they're like wild Broncos, and I gotta just remold them in their ways of thinking. One of them's here from Miami, he drove me crazy today. I love him to death. But the thing is that, whether even if you're just starting out, right, you really got to learn, the intricate parts, right? And I have, like, for example, I give the analogy, like, you lean a ladder against the house. You don't go 50 yards back, do a wind sprint, and then jump to the 10th step on the ladder. You want to take one step at a time.
Okay, so risk management.
Yeah.
Step one. What's like the thing that people should be mindful of the most? Like, if there's maybe the 1, 2, 3 of risk management, what would you say that would look like in terms of your rule set and what you've applied to your trading?
And it doesn't make sense if you're day trading or intermediate or long term. You got to maintain stops in your head. If you're a fundamental
Number
trader,
one, maintain stops.
Maintain stops, preservation of capital. Whether you're a fundamental trader, which I've never been, I've been a technical trader my whole life. You got to have your stops in place because you're not bigger than the market. You could be adverse to news at any given time. I mean, there was a true story. One time, I think I was long a couple hundred S&P futures. I was up a lot of money. and I had my stop in place. It was ticking almost where I was about to sell it. And all of a sudden at 1 o'clock, came out about Google's earnings that were released early. Boom, they dropped. I got stopped out. I lost like 30, 40 grand. And when they bounced, I tried to short them again and I didn't get filled. But you had to have your stop in place.
If I could, Steve, and,
Sure.
and just kind of bringing that home to the TradeZero platform, you know, we have a feature called the range stop, which
Yeah,
basically allows you to just do exactly what Steve described, which is put in your for-profit limit. If you're long, it would be above. If you're short, it'd be below, along with a stop below, so that you don't have to babysit that position. You can kind of walk away. If it goes against you, it'll stop you out. But if it goes with you, you know, you'll hit that for-profit target and will be taken out. So it's always good to make sure, if you have the tool to put the bracket around the position, I think it's a great way to not only protect your profits or protect your capital, but also, you know, get you out on the upside if you don't happen to be paying attention.
And I think also another key thing when you see volatile times like this, you know, you cut back on your position trade.
Number two,
Yeah, you got to cut back
on the positions. Or if you're a newbie, start small.
Yeah.
These are, especially when we're starting, we're talking about, it's all about the percentage gains. It's all about trying to, you know, get some consistency on what it is you're doing, so that you can live to fight another day. If trading is what you're looking to achieve, and profitable trading at that. So I think, you know, number one is stops. Number two, adjusting your position.
Absolutely.
And especially if a new trader, you know, you make 50 cents on a one share trade. It's the same as making from a percentage basis 50 cents on 1,000 share trade.
So Danny brought up a really good point. Like about within the last 5 or 6 months, we've seen increased volatility. So the markets are not behaving normally where, you know, there's a consistent grind up, you know, and there were times and periods like that, or consistent time. Now we're seeing the Wild West. I mean, you're seeing stocks moving $2, $3 in 15, 20 minutes. I mean, like a NVIDIA can run $5 in 30 minutes, right? And so we'd be, you know, on a long pattern, like at the end of the day, and bam, it runs $4. Amazon runs 20 points, $24 in 15 minutes, right? And even though the spreads are wide, but the patterns are there. And people I find now who are trading, maybe they'll trade 300 to 400 Amazon, right? But if they make 10 to 20 points, it's a game changer for the day, right? I've told people who are just starting out, the number one thing they got to do is you got to paper trade. You got to learn.
Great point. Is that number 3?
That's number 3.
Okay. Paper trade.
If you're a newbie. And even if, and I even go back to the point, even if you're a seasoned trader, I always set goals for myself for the day, and I've always increased them. But let's say you're a newbie, you should always paper trade first, get acclimated to the market, get acclimated to what we do here, the strategies, the terminologies and everything that we teach, the charts and everything, how we have to read them. But the most important thing is there's no harm in paper trading, because you get the real sense of the markets. And you then, once you understand the strategies that we teach here, the confidence level goes through the roof. Like I have 5 keywords: consistency, discipline, confidence, patience, and passion, right? So you really need the confidence to be able to trade these markets.
Right.
Volatility like this, even hedge fund managers haven't seen like this before.
Yeah. And to your point, one thing that you can't do with paper trading is lose money. Right. So
just learn from it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think mostly now what you're seeing is the volume on these inverses, these leveraged products like the SQQQs, the TZAs, the STSs. I'm telling you, my community is booming, just trading them up a storm.
So let's talk about community for a second.
Sure.
And you've brought up the SQQQ now 2 or 3 times in this webinar. And I haven't had the luxury of being in the room for any extended periods of time. So, you know, you keep coming back to this. Why don't you talk a little bit about, you know, SQQQ as a tool, why it is that you are attracted to it, and what risk management features you employ, particularly with this ticker?
That's a really great point. So, you know, I give my phone number out to the whole world. It's not like I give my phone number out like Tom Brady and it goes to a marketing company.
Right.
I literally talk my phone. I'm lying in bed and I'm getting a phone call from Egypt at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And so basically, a lot of people don't know how to short, right? Especially in markets like this. For whatever reason, they just don't know how to short, or they're uncomfortable in shorting. No problem. When I got today at 9:45, I got a monster buy reversal, buy signal on the SQQQs, and just went north.
And so when you say you got monster buy signal, what did that look like exactly? What could people who are watching see? Okay, I'm not in Steve's room today, or maybe I am, or maybe I have the buy volume off, but I'm looking at my charting. What is the thing that tells me here's a monster buy signal?
Well, I wrote my own charting application on TradeZero, and I wrote it on different other charting apps. But you know, I use TradeZero and others at times to gauge where I am. So the algorithms were telling me at 9:45 this morning, I got big buy reversals, big, you know, so which means if I'm getting buy signals on these products, the market's going down.
So one of the things that you're teaching people every day is how to read the indicator that you've created.
Correct.
Which I'm happy to say we've overlaid that onto the charting suite on the Zero Pro platform.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's curious about this, especially our TradeZero folks, you know, hit up customer service and they'll make sure that you get the version that has Mr. Kalayjian's chart overlays on it, so that if you wanted, you can join the room and you can follow along with what Steve's teaching.
Yeah.
And you know, like you're saying, you want to paper trade these things first, because as someone who's learning something, especially for myself, I wouldn't just commit money to it. You know, I wouldn't just, you know, do a trade and hope for the best. I would want to test what it is Steve was teaching me and showing me on a paper trade model. This way you can put your marks in the ground and see actually what you would have done had this been real money.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, there's no greater joy. Like literally, my phone is blowing up right now from people telling me how well they did today, how much they're grasping it.
It's got to feel great.
I tell you, I was sitting having dinner last night, and somebody texted me and made $28,000 yesterday, and I was just like, wow, you know, that was one of the greatest feelings. And she said, "You've changed my life forever," you know, and this is why we all, Joe, myself, you, everybody here, Ashling. Especially, we all are working so hard to make this such an unbelievable community to learn. My goal here is to be able to take every trader that I can get my hands on, take the knowledge that I have between my ears and transform it to them. Because that's my way of saying, that's my gift to you on my way out. You know,
so when the typical trading day, Steve, if you can walk us through, especially for those who haven't been in the room, is it all signal calling? Are you devoting a part of the day specifically to education? Is there any part of the day that you're even devoting to risk management?
Yeah. So I don't read anything. I just am very aware of any economic numbers that come out. So if there's an 8:30 number, like an unemployment number, CPI, PPI, new home sales, GDP, or retail sales, 6 numbers that occur in the 22 business days, we wait patiently. The room starts at 9. We wait to see if there's no news. Like today, there was no news at 10 o'clock. There was a pending home sales number, new home sales, whatever, was horrible. So we wait patiently until that number gets released. And then what we're doing is we're seeing what the market's telling me, and I'm able to identify market direction based upon the way I have everything set up. So basically, the chart overlay on TradeZero, you can see the same thing I'm seeing. You can see the same setups. So if I'm saying, okay, boom, at 9:45, I'm getting big sell reversals here from the last 2 days. We're looking to short the first bounce on the sell strategy. It worked out perfectly. Dropped $3 on the spiders. Monster move down.
When these trades are happening, when these setups are developing, and you're saying, okay, I have a buy signal here. Are you marrying those buy signals with where you're setting your stops?
Yeah. Every time I place a trade, so I don't know people's account sizes, so I'm giving like a range, and they try to scale in.
Sure.
So what, again, as a TradeZero, mentor coach, I don't really care how many times people trade a day. I only care at the end of the day that they're in the green, they're in the black, right? So, but the average person's been trading 20 to 30 times more a day. Now, that's great, but that's my job is to teach them the strategy, teach them why this is going to happen. So as things are developing, I'm talking for the whole, 7 hours during the day, teaching divergences, teaching reversals, teaching trends, teaching even an uptrend, you can get buy and sell divergences and things that really and I'm telling you, it's amazing what a feeling that after like 3 or 4 or 5 days, they're like, wow, I'll tell you, there's no greater joy at the end of the day seeing what people do at the end of the day because my phone blows up. There's no greater feeling when people post what they've done in Discord, right? On our free Discord. But there's the greatest feeling is when I have the community actually calling out trades in the Discord saying, Stevie, look at this great short setting up in Facebook. Look at this great buy
And they're
divergence.
applying your rule set and saying, hey,
absolutely,
I've applied what you've taught me. And now look, I'm also finding scenarios that match some of the things that you've taught us. And then it must be really cool to kind of see how those things develop. And if they are in fact right.
Yeah. And I'll say, yeah, wow, you're right. Roku, big buy divergence. There it is. Let's look to buy Roku. And then I'll say sometimes like, no, I don't see that right now. Here's why I don't see this and explain it,
Right.
This is a nonstop level of education that is transforming. And my goal here is to help change people's lives.
It's really learning by doing, Steve, would you say?
Learning by doing. Well, here are the 2 words. Ready? Visualization, right? And repetition. Those are the 2 key words. And regarding the risk management of the markets, I'll tell you, so I'm not going to mention any names or anything. A person that I know very, very well was trading the markets. I'm not going to mention the asset class or anything like that, and did not use stops. The market ran about 2,000 points. And the person was down a staggering amount of money. And I said, okay, you have 2 options. You can cover, take your monstrous loss, which is horrible, or you can open up another account and trade around that. Well, the bottom line is, because we're in a bear market, in my eyes, the market came back. The person ended up only losing about $1,100 compared to the monster loss, but traded around the position, constantly doing things right. But the person said to me, I'll never trade without stop orders again.
I mean, we're all humans, right? And I think, many times we have to learn some of those painful lessons before it kind of finally sinks in, like, these are the rules that you need to adhere to. And we see it all the time at the firm. We're not really there telling people what to do or how to do it, essentially, as it relates to their trading. I have these opportunities to talk to gurus like yourself, and there really seems to be a few common themes. And I think your top 3 risk management points are pretty ubiquitous across, all of the gurus, whether it be a Sykes, a Dux, a PJ Matlock. You guys all seem to say the same thing. It's tight stops, it's small positions. Paper trading is a unique one. I don't think that most of those guys lead with that, but I do think it's part of their tool set in terms of what it is that they teach. But it's really all about also discipline. It's learning, who you are as a person, what you can handle from those respects, and then understanding what that is, and then working from that perspective.
Well, like I said, one of my key words is discipline. And, I've lived my life based upon discipline. I could have played Major League Baseball, so I've taken the discipline methodology of applying it in the game of baseball to my trading. When I was trading my own capital and trading it monstrously, and sometimes I was anywhere between 3 to 10% of the volume in some of these big names I was trading on any given day. But if you don't have discipline, like today, a gentleman in the channel said, I got to regroup. And I said, what happened? And he said, I just broke every one of my rules, And I said, okay, why? Why would you do that? I'm here to teach you. You're following me. You're doing everything great. And then you just go off on the deep end on something.
Right.
Now I got to go have a drink. I said, you may be crazy, ruin my day, But the point of the matter is, I think what people try to do is, again, one of my keywords is patience, right? So of the 5 keywords. So we waited.
That's something that I am terrible at, honestly, personally. But
as I got older, I think I had, my father used to say to me all the time, Rome wasn't built in a day, you lunatic. you know, and I was like, why can't the Coliseum be built overnight? You know, I'm like, no, 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 you got to have patience. One of the things as I've gotten older and maybe a better, more mature trader is patience, right? So we wait for the right setups, right? Today we were in the room.
You don't try and force the issue.
Don't force it. You wait for the proper setup. So today, for example, one of the guys that came visit me, I said, Bobby, on this one, you go small position, right? And it worked out great. Boom, he shorted, boom, it dropped. But on this position, on this type of trade, this is like, you know, where the odds are 85, 95 are going to, like at the end of the day, that pullback and then bounce. These are trades that where high levels of confidence come in, right? So as a trader, you want to be able to size up your positions based upon strategy and the pattern.
Right.
But if there's nothing there, I'm not going to force. Today, at least 50 people, maybe 150 people. Steve, what do you think? Guys, be patient. There's nothing here.
Are there days when you don't trade, Steve?
No, never. There's never a day. With these symbols here, my strategy normally kicks in anywhere between 4 to 6 great trades a day, okay, on all these different patterns, whether it's Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, the S&Ps, the 4 ETFs, Russell, Diamonds, Q, Spiders, Boeing, Goldman, I can go on and on and on. And it might
There's opportunity every day, no doubt.
Every day.
But I was just wondering if the setups that you are adhering to always happen. If there's something that always gonna
always
pop
so
up.
I look at 3 things on any given day: trends, reversals, and divergences. So on last Thursday at 3:15, we got that big buy rally at 3:15. So basically Friday morning we gapped up and we never looked back, up 600 on the Dow. So that's a trending day, right? Today we had a reversal day. So normally out of 22 business days in a month, you get 10 great trending days, 10 great reversal days, and 2 days you just want to just like stay home. And one of those days was the FOMC on the second Wednesday of every or third Wednesday of every month when they come out. And you just want to, you know what, just go home.
And so as it relates to risk management, are there different rule sets that you employ based on, you know, what economic numbers coming out for the day? Are there different tactics from a risk perspective that you use based on what you know is going to be happening that day? Forget about what we don't know.
Well, basically, I wait, because I wrote this and it took me 9 years of my life. You wait for the strategies to set up. And once the strategies are there and you're waiting for, you know, looking on the smaller time frames, either for the pullback to get long or the pullback to get, or the bounce to get short, you have to always have your stops in place. So if I say, look short Boeing, like 179 to 179.80, use a 180.30 stop, I'm out there.
Right.
So I'm scaling into Boeing 3-4 times. I'm still using that 180.30 as a buy stop, right? So you always have to maintain, even if you got filled on 2 of the 3 or the 4 entries, and then Boeing drops $2, then you start covering, lowering your stop, covering, lowering your stop, covering, lowering your stop. I think what people are really realizing now is that this volatility can be traded, right? Because of what we're able to do here. I don't think people are scared of volatility, and the people, especially in my Discord now, right? Or in the TradeZero, you know, platform. I think people now are really getting it, and they're really, you know, like people like, oh, volatility, and then you watch all these different shows. They say, you know, you got to buy and hold. Now, that's not me. You know, there's a lot of money to be made on a daily basis to compound returns, you know. But you got to have the discipline. You got to have money management. You got to understand.
You have to have the education too.
That's why we built TradeZero. You know, I want to be able to help every TradeZero customer really to the point that, listen, come into the channel. We offer it for free. Come in, learn, right? I ask questions. I give out my phone. We do webinars. We do everything. I have educational videos.
Sure.
But the one thing I'll tell you is that there's not a day that goes by that every single thing that we do is not constant repetition. There's nothing that today that I didn't say yesterday,
right,
or the day before that. It's the constant terminology. You'll never hear me say something new like, hey, what was that? Where did that come from? You know, it's constant repetition. I think that's what's really getting people to understand, wow, you know, I understand this. I understand what he's saying now, you know. And
do you find that you do have some folks in the room who start kind of echoing what you're saying and also helping other members of the room because
Oh
they've
my
been with you
God.
for quite some time?
This community is really, first of all, I'm not going to tolerate any disrespect. I'm not going to tolerate any bullying or nonsense, and that's never happened. Okay. But I'll tell you, this community, I've never seen the outpour of people trying to help each other.
That's amazing.
It's really, I have
in this day and
goosebumps
age, that's
saying
really
that.
amazing.
No, I have goosebumps saying that because, you know, somebody will ask a question and maybe I might not see it right away because I'm looking and I'm got things going on.
Right.
My left eye is always trying to go back onto the Discord chat, and it's already been answered by somebody. Hey, you know, boom.
That's
hey,
cool.
You know,
really
and
nice.
this is why this community in such a short period of time is now into the thousands already. You know, and so what we want to be able to do is to be able to be so proactive to help. Literally, I mean, I'll leave, I'll come back, I'm here till 10, 11 o'clock at night. One night I fell asleep in the chair. When the European session started, all the guys in Europe were on the Discord and I was calling out trades on the S&P and, you know, and oil. And then finally at 5 o'clock in the morning, I went home to take a shower. But, you know, we love what we do here. And it's really about knowledge and education. It's not like I pulled the trigger probably 10 million times in my life, right? So it's not like I came from MIT, no disrespect or anything, and I built a program. We want to be able to help all the TradeZero customers or any customer for that fact, and to be able to provide them the right technology, the right fit. I mean, one thing about TradeZero that everybody's raving about, especially in these markets, is what? The hard to borrow.
Sure.
And why don't you explain that a little bit?
Access to the short. So it's one of the things that I, pride myself on, and one of the things that we've really been has been a real key differentiator for the company is the fact that we kind of lead with the way in which we provide access to those people who want to trade on the short side. So our patent pending technology, as many of you are probably familiar, our short locator product, which not only allows you to pull down locates from 8 or 10 different sources. It also gives you the unique ability when you no longer need the locate to sell that locate back to the next TradeZero customer who may be looking to short that stock. And from our perspective, the innovation has given our customers a competitive advantage in that they can monetize something that they can't anywhere else. And it also gives them a little bit of comfort and ease, especially on those really difficult to source stocks, where they know hey, I know TradeZero had some shares earlier in the day. They don't have any right now, but I know because of the wheel and the ability to sell back, there's an opportunity for me to get access to those shares that they wouldn't at any other shop. So it's really something that we're proud of and looking and something that we're really looking to expand upon in the next coming versions of the platform. If I could, Steve,
Absolutely.
I did want to address something because I feel that, over the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been our best stretch in terms of the reliability of the software. But I want to sit here and tell everyone that I'm ever mindful of it. We have and are making significant investments into the upgrade of the technology to ensure a much more reliable and stable future, especially as we get ready to roll out our crypto offering and our multi-leg options platform, which the crypto is coming. We're in the process of testing it. Today we started testing, and the options platform we're expecting at the end of June. So there's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of push to get our infrastructure ready for these 2 new asset classes. So I wanted to address that and let everyone know that I hear you. I want to thank you for your patience, but we're treating this very seriously. And I know that tomorrow is going to be a great day for us. Today was a much better day than the day before. And as this new version of our order server has gotten rolled out, I'm really excited about where we are and the prospects of the reliability and scalability going forward as we introduce these new asset classes. So I want to thank our customers, our loyal customers, for bearing with us because I think we've weathered the storm and we're on the right side of it at this point.
Yeah. Again, so many people come to me because a lot of the other member firms they can't get the hard to borrow.
Sure.
Especially in names that are heavily shorted, obviously, right? But also a lot of the ETFs recently are heavily shorted now, and they're having hard times.
Yep.
And a lot of people are finding it such an ease with the transformation.
It's a real sweet spot.
Yeah, it really, because I love to short. So, I mean, so there's, for me, I think that would be a significant advantage.
While also maintaining your buy stops, of course, on all of the shorts
No,
that
you
you're putting in.
gotta, yeah, of course, you always gotta maintain, but it also gives you the vehicle where, you know, like there are some names that you can't get in because you can't get the borrow, and a lot of member firms will just, you're just like, okay. But, you know, one thing I will tell you is that a lot of the names that we're trading here are very liquid. The Microsofts of the world,
Sure.
you know, the Facebooks, the Apples, etc. And, you know, when Amazon and Google split, there shouldn't be a problem at all. You know, for me, I think the most important thing is that the vehicles that you're giving them enables them to have this at their
To have access.
especially in these volatile times,
Right.
which is significant importance, you know.
Do you think that we should open up to some questions, Steve?
Yeah, so I have, Ashling, I have a list of questions. So I'm gonna read like 6 or
You want
7.
to hit from the chat, or you want to have some, we have some pre-canned ones, Ashling?
Whatever you'd prefer. Do you want to start with the pre ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have one here. What is the difference between TradeZero and TradeEZ? So TradeZero is a member firm. They're a brokerage firm. They're regulated. And TradeEZ.
We're actually 3 brokerage firms,
Three brokerage
TradeZero
firms.
International out of Bahamas, TradeZero Canada, newly launched in March, and TradeZero America, where I sit every day in our offices in Brooklyn. So with 3 broker dealers under the brand of TradeZero.
And TradeEZ is a platform that is not regulated, but is an educational platform that I'm able to bring other coaches and mentors on to provide educational services for all the communities, all the traders of the world.
Awesome.
So we're not a broker dealer in that capacity. When is crypto coming? I think you've answered that.
Crypto coming, we're launching it internationally first. So out of TZI first, and then followed by TZA, and then TradeZero Canada will be probably this fall.
Okay, this is for me. What does Steve specialize in terms of trading? So basically, I look at equities, ETFs, index futures, financial futures like the 30-year bonds, gold, oil, and some Forex. But again, my specialty here each and every day, I would say 96% of the time, 95% of the time is intraday trading. But I also give intermediate and long-term calls, which have been pretty spot on based upon using my algorithms. Here's a good one. How do day traders navigate bear markets? Well, you navigate bear markets by, you know, learning how to short the markets, learning on the inverses like the SQQQs, the TZAs, and the FCSs, like I was explaining to Danny earlier, looking at other products. And I teach that each and every day here too. And I can't even tell you how many people have thanked me that I've opened their eyes to these other products to be able to trade them. So that's been a really great satisfaction and reward on my behalf. Here's another good one. How do I know when a stock's about to have a short squeeze? You really don't know about that. You know, like, for example, I know a company right now that, you know, there's 200, I'm just giving an example, like 200 million shares short. You don't know if it's going to be a short squeeze or not. So you don't know if the stock is just going to go like Lehman Brothers to zero, or if a company is going to,
it's going to get memeified, and
yeah, or if you're going to get like what happened to GME when it ran to 560 or something like that, or AMC, or any of these other ones. What is the attributes of a type of stocks that are best for day trading when you have a cash account? Well, if you have a cash account, you're king, right? You could do the $25,000 day trading rule, right? You can trade SQQQs, you could trade anything that we Square, Roku, any of these big names. As long as you have a cash account.
But the thing is, with a cash account, you're unable to go short. So just let me just kind of, if I could, walk through some
39 years, I never knew that.
Some things about cash accounts. Number one is, so let's say you have a $5,000 cash account and you take a $2,000 position and then you sell it. Those 2,000 are done for the day. You have $3,000 left. So once you use each dollar in a cash account, it's no longer available for the next trade. as opposed to a margin account that's in the US that's over $25,000. You do that $3,000 trade, you buy something, you sell it, the funds are immediately returned, so you can reapply them again. And in addition, you have the ability to go short.
Oh, so okay. So the cash account's under 25,000 then.
Well, it could be under
Well, that's what
25, it could be over
I was thinking
25.
25,000 or over. And this-
Right, right.
Okay, so this is if you're under 25, if you're under 25,000. If you're under $25,000, then you really, then you got to really kind of, pick a stock that you can trade enough of that's under, if you have $5,000 or $10,000, then you have to pick a stock, that you can trade, that you can be able to have some movement in it. And I'll teach you my strategies just apply to that symbol.
Now, when you talk about futures, are those typically traded in cash accounts or?
Yeah, cash accounts.
Okay, so futures, unlike equities, just an interesting footnote. There's no day trading restrictions. There's no trade counter with respect to the number of times that you can enter into a position in a futures trade. There's no counter, unlike in the equities world. So a little bit more flexibility on the future side when trading in a cash account.
Yeah. So like, for example, like I heard just recently, like I think it was TD Ameritrade, they're for one S&P contracts like $15,000. And then some firms are 500. So everybody's margins are different,
right?
But it's a cash account. And Layla has one last one here. How do I adjust covered calls when underlying stock prices change? So how do I adjust when the prices change? So for example, if you're long a stock at 50 and you're doing a covered call and you sold the 50 calls for the in the money or at the money calls, and you got a $5 premium, your risk is down to 45. But the stock goes to 40, you're down 5 points now, especially in markets like this. So either my personal opinion, when you're in bear markets, I don't think doing covered calls is the right approach because you're in bear market territory, right? And so you'll get the premium off the option, but it may be below, it may help you so far, but let's say it drops under $10, it's not really gonna, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna just keep chasing and selling more premium and more premium. I just don't think it works in bear markets.
Okay.
I hope that. So asking, I think we have about 30 questions here.
Yeah, amazing. I'll go through them one at a time. Dan, the first one is for you. To become a TradeZero customer, get Steve's chart overlay. What's the funding minimum amount?
So in the US, our minimums are 2,500. In both offshore broker dealers, it's 500. And then you can just ask the customer service agent, and they can direct you to how to access those overlays.
Great, thank you. Then to both of you, what are your guidelines to set stop loss? Oftentimes I hear the 1% rule. What do you suggest?
Well, I don't look at it based upon percentages. I look at it based upon volatility in the market, right? So you have to look at it on a daily basis. So for example, if I'm calling a buy strategy long, like this morning on the SQQQs, I said, look to buy 60 to 60, 80, give an 80 cent range. And then I used a 40-cent stop below that. So basically we're risking from high to low.
How did you pick that 40 cents?
Based upon the way that I saw my algorithms. So I knew the algorithm would reverse on a certain price. And
is there something that it tells you on the chart?
Yeah, I teach that in my live stream each and every day.
Cool.
So I teach the ability to understand the percentage. I don't look at percentages. I've never once ever put a stop order in based upon a percentage. I've always looked at it based upon volatility, and then if I'm scaling in or scaling in on a short or on a long, I say, okay, if I'm buying it here, I'm losing minimum like a 50-cent stop from the lowest target down. So I don't look at percentages.
So I guess you'd have to check the indicators and Steve's chart.
Yeah, I teach that.
I actually.
It's a great question. I actually teach that in a day. At least 4 or 5 times a day, I teach that.
I'm not a trader, guys. So I'm a buy and hold guy. Steve would, probably, we'd have I'm just not a trader. So I don't really have rules on how I set stops, but I do set them because I don't like unlimited losses. And but I do set stops when I do enter in a position. For me, I look at what it is my risk tolerance, what I'm willing to lose in that trade, and that's where I set my stop.
Yeah, I don't think it's prudent if you ask Ashling to look at a one. I never ever thought like that. Okay, a percentage.
So Steve, the next one's for you, just for a brief idea what your SK chart overlay is.
So that's a great question. So when the New York Stock Exchange decided to go with decimalization, or the SEC, I was one of the 3 people out of a room of 100 fighting against decimalization. So basically, when decimalization came, I knew that the depth of the markets would be gone, right? I said the 8th point markets were gone. You're not going to see, you'll see 100 shows. So I said, I'm going to take 1 year of my life and I'm going to go build technology. And that 1 year of my life, I spent 9 years building. Literally 9 years of my life dedicated to building something that I can see market direction. So basically, I have an overlay on TradeZero, and you have the ability to see the layout. I have indicators 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not in priority form. I have numbers to the right that gives me the ability. So everything I have, I've written so many vast, phenomenal strategies using my system that I built. And it's just remarkable. I could pick up divergences, buy and or sell. I could see trends. I could see reversals. Today, we caught big reversals and 5 reversals in Amazon and Goldman at the end towards the day. We caught buy divergences off the Dow that ran 300 today. So this overlay is pretty much golden.
So I think people have to get in the room with you. They
Yeah.
kind of got to roll up
Yeah.
their sleeves
Yeah.
and kind of listen to what it is you're saying, look at the market conditions at the time, and try and apply what it is you're saying to what it is they're doing.
And we're going to give a special offer to the TradeZero customers for special access, and I want you to join, come into the community. The Discord is free. You're going to see an unbelievable community of people helping each other, bonding with, asking questions again, and then being able to come into the live channel, listening, and learning. You're not going to get it the first day. I'm going to tell you now, right? Because I have terminology that you've never heard before. And it's a fun day. We laugh, we joke around when things are going great. We have people hysterical on a phenomenal trade. You'll see the whole board light up. People like, whoa, we caught it. It's really amazing.
That's cool.
Yep. Hi, Rita. There's Rita. Okay. Ashling, go ahead. I know you have a bunch more.
Yeah, it's okay. Just one DM directly to me. Is there, for a new trader, is there times of intraday you would both recommending avoiding?
Oh yeah, for a new trader, the opening. Stay away from the opening. You wait till things settle, especially if you're a new. That's my opinion.
Listen, I'm not a trader. I know most of the volume is happening, between 9:30 and 10, and like 3:40 to 4 o'clock. That's when you can have most of the action, market action. In the middle of the day, things tend to slow down a bit when people are eating lunch and the like. So, I think if you're new and you're just learning, I think it's better to take a look at things when they're not going so intensely, just because they're at a different speed, where when things are new to you, it may be able to be more digested when things aren't, jumping around so quickly.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, if you're a newbie, the markets are really it's like, boom, the Belmont, boom, they're off. And, and you see 12 horses running out of a gate, right? You just, if you're new, and then there's a 10 o'clock number, like a consumer confidence, an ISM number, or like today, a new home sales or pending home sales, it
could be overwhelming.
Yeah, it's too overwhelming. So I tell you, somebody once said to me, Steve, do you have a strategy for 3:59? I said, yeah, you grab your car keys and wait to get the hell out of here and you can go. That was a strategy. I swear to God, I'll never forget that. And I
never heard that one.
Yeah, Steve, do you have a strategy for 3:59? I stared at the question. I said, yeah, you grab your car keys and just want to get the hell out of here, But for a newbie, I would just say I would stay away from the opening and start getting involved after 10 o'clock.
Could it be possible to set a range order with the possibility to get profits of a percentage of the position?
Great question. I will say that due to the fact that, we've really had a dedicated push on ensuring the infrastructure can support these 2 new asset classes that I'm really excited about. the additions to the Zero Pro platform are going to start coming very fast and furiously. So I would encourage you, whoever sent that question, to just let us know in customer service. I think that's a great feature. I think things like being able to set dollar stop losses instead of having to pick prices, being able to set instant stops upon getting into a position, and then percentage and stops based on percentage of profits or percentage of the position are also really valuable tools that let you really manage your risk in a much better, more hands-on way, where a lot of these features are going to be coming in the very near future.
Also for you, Dan, is futures coming to TradeZero?
Futures are not yet on the critical path. Although, you know, the more I hang out with this guy, the more I feel like this is something that we need to do in very near short order. Incidentally, in former life at our first firm, Noble Trading, I was the futures principal there. So I am a futures guy. I believe in what the product does. I believe in why it was set up. But I also know that it's a great way to speculate the market in a way that you can do so, as I mentioned before, without any day trading restrictions.
I think that's the biggest thing.
It is. But in terms of hitting TradeZero, I don't anticipate it in 2022.
Thanks, Dan. And one of our members, Rita, would like to know, Dan, do you have Chart Trader at TradeZero?
I've never heard of that, so no, we don't. Sorry, Rita.
Sorry, Rita. Okay. Can we get Dome trading at TradeZero? Dome?
So that's another thing that Steve's really been harassing us about. And again, I do see the value in it. Again, borrowed from the futures world. That is something that we will be looking into adding for sure.
One question about TradeZero 4X for overnight holds that plays a huge part while managing risk.
Well, I would honestly beg to differ on the question, because when we're talking about intraday particularly, you can set a stop, and when your stop hits, your trade is going to go. None of us know when the equity markets are closed and we have no opportunity to get in or get out of anything, what's going to happen. I mean, tonight, Joe Biden could get hit by a bus and, the market may open up down 5,000 points. And none of us have any control or way to mitigate that price action. So the more leverage you have overnight, I feel the more risk there is. And right now at 2-to-1, first of all, excuse me, as a FINRA regulated broker dealer, excuse me, we don't really get to decide what the overnight margin is. So for the foreseeable future, it will remain at 2-to-1. Excuse me.
It's okay. A question for Steve. Do you use the same algo, Steve, and technical analysis for your stocks as you do on futures?
Yes, absolutely. It works on equities, ETFs, commodities, index futures, financial futures, Forex, crypto.
Okay, I'm going to throw another one back to you, Steve. If I'm a new trader and I'm learning to paper trade, should I just trade the same amount on paper trading that I would actually have if I was opening a cash account?
I would definitely stick to that rule. If you're going to trade something live, you want to be able to trade on paper like you're trading, so you get more familiar with it. You don't want to trade 20 share lots and then all of a sudden when you're going live, you start doing 100 share lots. So try to be consistent in your approach.
Okay. Do you think the market would prefer the VP as Perez?
I didn't see that.
I mean, listen, I don't know. 6 in one, half a dozen the other. I don't know.
How about tools to limit number of shares and dollar amount per position, like the features available in DAS Trader and Sterling Trader?
Yes, we could do that. You can let us know. Actually, see, at the end of the day, features like that, put in the hands of a trader, you have the ability to undo it. So you can let us know. You can hit us up on the customer service, on the chat, let us know your account number, and we can actually set a position limits size for you.
Okay, and then for Steve, beside your algos, what was the one thing you focused on for your first 5 years that really helped change your profitability?
I think, yeah, that's a great question. So my first trade I ever did, I had no regret. Well, I think it had to be my discipline. My discipline was the most important thing. The first trade I ever did, I had $3,000. I was working for $2.10 an hour. I opened up a brokerage account for $3,000. I was working on the 40 American Stock Exchange. I said, oh, there's an option. Okay, a call. I just bought 550 calls at 2 3/4. And then the stock in October went from 50.5 all the way down to 40. And I kept on buying all the way down. And then Christmas time, I had no money to buy any presents. The $3,000 I had was probably worth not even $50. The options were probably worthless. A week before expiration, the stock went from 40 to 54. At 3:45 on the day of expiration, I hung up the phone. I said, sell 1850 calls or whatever I bought, 22 market. Boom, I saw the broker walk in the crowd. Boom, I made my $7,000-8,000 plus the money I lost, the original investment. I turned around, I'm hanging up the phone. My father said to me, are you out? Because he was a floor broker in America. I said, I'm out. He said, when I came on the floor on this Monday, I found a penny faced up. I bent over, I made a wish that you wouldn't lose any money on this trade. So he said, what do you learn from this? I said, whenever you have a losing position, you look for a penny faced up. He said, no, you idiot. He said, you never average down. So I think averaging down was something I took the next 5 years. And by the way, after that, I hung up the phone, I bought 10 Merrill calls right after that. And so I think that's a great question. I think that averaging down, discipline was a big focus the next 5 years going forward for me.
For Dan, I trade from the office these days since the remote days are gone. Can you please help to add at least 10 charts in level 2 in TradeZero Web?
Oh, in TradeZero Web, 10 charts. I don't know about 10. The issue with the way in which we do the Web Pro platform, I think you would agree it's very Windows-esque. You really have sort of flexibility in moving the windows around within the browser without any heavy overlays like any plugins or the like. And we need to be mindful about the amount of data, especially the amount of streaming data that we're pumping into the browser. Honestly, we haven't revisited this in probably a year. But at the time, looking at what Chrome we consider the gold standard in terms of browsers, running various tests, we did run into some headwinds in terms of the way that the browser would allow the market data to be processed and turned over. So I'm wondering if you're using Web Pro. My belief is that you're on a Mac, because if you're not, then I would encourage you to move over to Zero Pro if that's something that you're really looking to have, because that's native in Zero Pro.
And then Maurizio is saying he's having difficulty downloading version 612, but I assume he just reaches out to your support team, Dan.
Yeah, and they're there now, so you can. We're there 24/7. They'd be happy to help.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's pretty much our questions. Sorry, one more for Steve. Since 3 out of 4 of the stocks follow overall market movement, how can you get around trading individual stocks so SPY movement doesn't ruin your trade, if you know what I mean? Or do you focus on stocks only with relative strength and weakness?
So the best way I can answer that is that each and every day out of the 39 screens that we look at the same 39 symbols each and every day. And we're looking at the big cap stocks, the big ETFs, right? The Russell, the Diamonds, the Spiders, and the Qs, right? And the reason why I'm set up like this, because I could see things like today we saw the big buy reversal on the Diamonds. I said, if you read my Twitter, I said the lows are in for the day.
Do you have sounds running on all these things?
Oh yeah, well, we're streaming around the world.
No, I mean like sounds of like.
Oh no!
Alerts and
my eyes are trained like this. I've been doing this my whole life, so I can go like down. I can see it. So I think what's really important is we trade the same names every single day. So there was a gentleman in Canada who just opened up an account with you guys, right? And I think he opened up an account. He's telling me he was going to. And he's like, I'm really frustrated trading this one stock. Well, I said, I don't cover that one stock, right? But I can't give you investment advice. But look at this one symbol and just watch it for a while. The guy is like, thanks me every single day. It's Square, SQ. He's trading it 15, 30 times a day, right? So, and he's learning the strategies. He's learning and seeing what's going on based upon I have everything set up. So basically, when we look at the same names every single day, and I jump up and down like a baboon, and I'm like, these are the symbols we look at. If you can't make money with these symbols that do 100 million shares more
Super
a
liquid.
day,
Yep.
super liquid, then why you want me to go look at a Marvel? Or why do you want me to go look at a Zoom? Or why don't we go look at a PayPal? I'm looking at the same names every day. These names move.
Consistency.
Exactly. Show me you can make money in these names first before I jump over there. You know? So I hope I answered that question.
For you, Dan, sorry, the chat's moving so fast. And just does TradeZero offer API connectivity?
We do not.
No. And the ability to get a trading stop loss on TradeZero Pro?
Very soon. That is the next feature that we're looking at to bring out of the Zero Pro platform and all of the platforms really. Just a couple of quick updates, if I could, asking if we're done with the questions.
Absolutely.
We are anxiously awaiting the release of our new mobile application. If there are any TradeZero customers who would like to participate in our beta, I'm very proud of what we've developed on the new mobile app. It is a huge step up from where we are. Please reach out to customer service. Let them know if you're an iPhone user or an Android user. And if so, what your Apple or your Google ID are, and we can invite you into test flight. The cool thing about that is you can continue to run the old one alongside with the new one. As I mentioned, our crypto launch, especially international, you're going to be hearing from us in the next coming days, potentially weeks. And like I said, our multi-leg options platform, very excited about us finally getting into spreads and more than single leg options trading. I want to thank you, Steve, for inviting me.
Thank you.
This was a blast. I mean, I really, I don't know how you do it, brother, but
I love it.
This is really intimidating, but he breaks it down and I think makes it easy. Hence the name.
Thank you. And I thank you thank you guys thank you for coming up. I know it was a haul. Again, you know, one of the things I want to say, thank you for everybody giving me this opportunity to teach you, giving me the ability to take the knowledge that I have gained over the years. And I'm telling you, if you put your mind to it, you change your mindset, you work hard, this will pay off. And there's no greater joy in my life at this time to be able to help change your lives. You know, we're here, customer support. We're answering emails and helping people all night long. And this is for me, a great opportunity because I want to build one of the greatest communities. This is why I've done this.
And I think you're on your way, brother.
Yeah, I've done this because I've seen everything I can in the industry. August 1st will be 39 years in the industry. I'm not hanging up my cleats yet, but the point is that what's really important is that here at TradeZero, we want to build an unbelievable customer relationship. That's why I give my phone number out. I let people 914-500-7484. People just call me all around the world. People just text and they want to be part of this. And I'm so happy to be doing this. And I hope you guys join me. And we're going to offer a special product here, a special offering for the TradeZero customers.
Yes, we will. And stay tuned for the email about that. Coming soon.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Stevie.
Now it's time to eat.
Aisling, thank you so much for hosting.
Pleasure. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Good night, everybody. God bless as well.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We greatly appreciate your time that you spent with us from all over the world. There will be a recording of this sent to you immediately afterwards, and also the special offers we have for you for signing up. We appreciate your time. So if we haven't answered any of your questions that Dan said, his support team are always on standby to help you out, and likewise on our TradeZero platform. Steve has mentioned our Discord is free at the moment. Come in, get to meet our community, ask questions, and also we have a free trial all year round for anyone if you miss the promotions we have on offer on email if they don't suit you to join at the moment. But again, we thank you for your time with us and have a good evening.
Good evening. Good night, everybody.